I am at the American Center of Physics, where the American Physical Society is located in Washington, D.C. And I am here with one of my favorite people in the world, somebody that I get to work with a whole bunch. And so I am super excited to find out what they do. And I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves and tell a little bit about what their job is.
Sure. Thank you, Matt. Hey, folks. My name is Annelise, or Skylen. Both names are fine. My pronouns are they and them. I work for the American Physical Society and have been here working for the company and for this membership organization for the last 7 years. I work primarily on a project called PhysTech, the Physics Teacher Education Coalition. I also work on the Faculty Teaching Institute, and when I give a single sentence about what my job is, I usually say that my job is to help physics faculty do their jobs better.
It's amazing that there's this whole life cycle of people in Washington, D.C., and the American Physical Society, the American Institute of Physics, that are out there supporting physics across the country.
Yeah. So the American Association of Physics Teachers is also hosted here, and AAPT and APS are the two lead organizations for the PhysTech project. So APS has offices in Washington, D.C., in College Park, Maryland, and actually also in Hauppauge, New York. That's up on Long Island. So I said, APS has had all three offices for quite some time, and now that we are a remote-first organization, everybody works primarily from home, but every now and again, we come to our offices in order to host events like this PhysTech workshop.
That's great. There you go. Yeah, it's the Hauppauge office it's interesting because it's right around the corner from where I used to live. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What additional... Oh, so why did you choose physics as a career?
Funnily enough, I got into physics because of music. So my undergraduate degree is in engineering physics, and I actually started out as a mechanical engineering major. I thought I was going to go work on a lot of machinery and such. And then I found myself hanging out a lot with the engineering physics students because I really enjoyed physics 1 and 2. I had a couple of friends already at the university who I had met in high school who were in the engineering physics space, and they had a physical study space. And so I would go work on my homework there. And in part, I got teased a little bit about hey, you're hanging out here so much, you better become a major. But on the other hand, it was also that a friend of mine who was in SPS, had gone to a QIP meeting and found an REU that she thought I would be particularly interested in, and it was, in fact, the physics of music. And so I was able to apply and get that REU. Did that REU, I came back and I realized, wow, I should really do this physics thing. Because this is way more interesting to me than the mechanical engineering stuff. And I think what I really liked about it was the problem solving and pulling from... at the time, I really, really didn't like... what are they called? The formulae that are just kind of contrived.
You wanted to know what's underneath it.
I wanted to know what was underneath it. I wanted to know what was happening in the black box. And the thing was that in high school when I took physics, that was the first time that I understood math, because suddenly math had a purpose and a reason, and physics made math make sense. Mm-hmm. And so if I put all those things together, I kind of realized, wow, I should really do this physics thing.
It's great.
Yeah.
You used two acronyms in there that I don't know that all of our viewers would know. One is QIP, and the other one was an REU.
Yes. So an REU is a research experience for undergrads. These are programs that are typically funded by the National Science Foundation, or the NSF, and they exist all over the country and are available for undergraduates usually to apply to. Our research experiences for undergraduates, and you can usually just Google search them, or use your favorite search engine, DuckDuckGo or something else if you would prefer. But if you search research experience for undergrads or REU and then append physics or a particular, if there's a subparticle of something of physics that you like, you can put that in, and that should work pretty well to find you something to apply to. And of course, if you aren't sure where to look, you can always email APS. You can go to aps.org and go to our directory and find the right department. You'll be looking for either the SEEK department, which is CEIC, or programs. And either of those should lead you to somebody you can get in contact with.
That's great. Typically, I'd say that this is usually a junior level thing, but even first year students often win these prestigious things. So it's worth to start applying almost immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you used another one, which was QIP.
So QIP is the Conference for Undergraduate Women and Gender Minorities in Physics. And that's CU**, little I, capital P. And these conferences are designed to help build, it's not quite a counter space for women and gender minorities, but it almost is. And it's really designed to support folks, actually like myself, to create their space in physics. Not just find, but create their space in physics. Like I said, it's almost a counter space, but not quite a counter space. And when I say counter space, what I mean is that in various social justice spaces, when we talk about a counter space, what we mean is a group that is designed, or a space that is designed, whether it's a physical space or an online space, that is designed specifically for a minority group. And I'm using minority relatively here, just relative to the majority group. So that those people who are not typically in that space, or not as common in that space, have a place to come together, to navigate their unique challenges, and to find community that supports them in finding success in the field.
I've seen how QIP can be a very powerful experience for students.
Yeah.
So what additional steps beyond just getting the engineering physics degree that you had to do in order to get into this amazing job?
Yeah, so I went kind of through a zigzag of an experience. I would not recommend that everybody take my pathway, in part because it involves a less than happy experience with grad school. But for the job that I do, grad school is not required. It really, really helps for the work that I do as a program manager and as somebody who does professional development for faculty. It really helps if you have experience with any kind of leadership in organizations. So if you were in SPS, the Society of Physics Students, if you were in leadership of any student club, really, in college. For me, I was in 4-H, and that sounds like an acronym, but it's not. I was in 4-H for about 18 years of my life, and I did lots of leadership through 4-H. I did lots of volunteering.
Farming?
Yeah, so 4-H is similar to Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, but it is agriculturally focused and is a little bit more broad and has always been co-ed. So I did tons of leadership that way. I was in student lobbying groups when I was in college. I did a whole lot of extracurriculars where I was running. I actually ran a Society of Physics Students zone meeting when I was a junior in college.
Impressive.
I attended SPS meetings at zone levels. There are lots of other steps, but the main thing is, if you want a job like mine where you're working with people, it's important that you have experience leading organizations, even at a small scale.
That's great. The Society of Physics Students has about 18 to 20 zones around the United States. Mm-hmm. Each zone has an annual zone meeting where they get together with students from around the region and have a physics party. It's pretty cool. I've been to Zone 2, Zone 3, and Zone 9 meetings, and I absolutely love them.
I don't think you were at Zone 9 when I ran it.
No, I am running the Zone 9 meeting this year.
Are you, though?
Yeah,
nice,
it's the Cosmic Pathways meeting.
Nice, good.
So how would you say that physics has been a win for your career?
I think for me, when I think about physics as a win for my career, the biggest thing is that a career is successful if you are doing something that really feeds the fire inside your soul. And so for me, fun fact, I nearly changed my major to sociology because I took a sociology class in college that I loved so much that I wanted to switch careers, but it was too late. You see, I couldn't add a minor, I couldn't do another major. It was like too late to do that. So, being in physics is a win for me just because I love it. I love the subject. It's a ton of fun. It's a way that I enjoy relating to the world. It's a way that I enjoy understanding the world. And so for me, it is the basis upon which everything else is built. It's sort of the water that I swim in as a culture. And my ability to find this job and get to a place where I could work in a sociological type of space where I get to work with people, but do it in the physics context. That's the thing that really lights the fire under in my soul, and makes me happy every day to do the work.
That's wonderful. So, I have an interest in numerical modeling for sociology.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
nice.
I love that stuff. I've been reading a book about environmental modeling and, more of a people thing, like, how do we use resources and this kind of thing. Like
interesting. We'll have to follow up on that.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm not necessarily asking for how much you make,
sure.
But how much do people that work in Washington, D.C. on physics and science policy make?
Yeah, so I can't speak for all 3 physics societies that are housed here, and I wouldn't dare. What I can do is talk about how my career has grown. I said I've worked here for 7 years, and it would be rare to work somewhere for 7 years and not get a raise of some kind. I started out as a program coordinator, making right about $50,000, $50,000 a year. That was an average pay rate for that at that time in this area. And the salary range for my current position as a program manager is in the $80,000 to $120,000.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what does a typical day for you look like?
So when I start my workday, usually the first thing I do is check my email, to be honest, because my job and the way I think about my job is that, as I've said earlier in this workshop, my hands are your hands. So my job really is to help the people that I'm working for and working with to do whatever it is that they're doing in a way that is more effective, more enjoyable for you all, and is easier, because there's a lot of communal knowledge out here and in the physics world and the physics teacher education and physics education research that not everybody has immediate access to or knows exactly where to get it. So I try to act as somebody who can connect people to resources. So I said my day starts with email, but after that, it's really kind of a mix of things. Usually I am doing one of 2 things. I am either preparing for the next event or the next piece of professional development that is happening that we're providing, or I am reviewing landscape level, national level data sets in order to understand what patterns I can pull from it. So I might, for example, plan a video conference where somebody like Dr. Wright here would attend a video conference, and then I would facilitate a bunch of conversations so that folks like him and his colleagues can learn together in order to improve your work. And then the other piece is I would be looking at data sets. I might look at the work that you've done. I might look at that and compare it to other types of faculty projects. I might read literature. I might look at independently collected data sets, anything along that line that can give me a sense of what is it that the community knows, but maybe doesn't know that they know, and that I can lift up, or what is it that the community is really missing, and how do we fill that gap? And then the other third of my time is meetings,
Okay.
having conversations with my colleagues about those two things.
Yeah, you definitely a source of information
Yep.
and the source of professional development for our whole entire team.
Yep.
So I would appreciate that. So I know I'm going to put you on the spot
Sure.
here, but do you have a funny story that you might have about how it works at APS, or what it's like to be here?
Honestly, my favorite funny stories are when the fairly common moments when me and my colleagues use metaphors to the point that we have wrapped together maybe 3 or 4 metaphors and they're all completely broken. So we might start with, well, learning is like insert metaphor here, and then it goes on to, okay, well, if we're doing learning, now we got to think about how knowledge gets shared. Okay, so learning is not like having a bucket poured into your head. You have to pull resources from elsewhere. Okay, so let's say you have a sand castle, right? Every student has a sand castle that they've built that is their understanding of the world, right? And if we were to take a bucket and like try to fill their head with it, we would just douse the sand castle and it would be gone. And then the metaphor continues for at least 5 minutes. And by the time we've gotten to the end of it, we're both like, hold on. Wait a second. Where were we? We've lost the plot now. Let's get back to how did we get here? and then it takes us a good 5 minutes to laugh it off and come back to the strategy thought process that we were having. But it's really enjoyable because you need moments of comedy when you're working in a job like I do, because I run grants. The other maybe quarter, the percentages of my time definitely add up to more than 100%, and that's okay. I'm not overworked. I'm just not bothering with accurate estimates of my time. Let's put it that way. Another part of my work is writing grants. Mm-hmm. And administering those grants. And so when we think about those strategy efforts, we're thinking in terms of, okay, what are we spending the next $1 million on? Yeah. How do we get the next $1 million, and then what are we spending it on?
So that's one of the amazing things that I think people always think that physics can only be done in a lab, but here you are kind of at the nexus mm-hmm. of the national movement in physics, and you're actually talking about where you put millions of dollars to make like changes mm-hmm. in how the country is going to move, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah. The only other funny story that I really have, the APS team attended the AAPT summer meeting last year, and I was at the booth, and we were giving away these little squishy brains, and somebody gave me 3 of them. And then I started juggling. There's a video out there in the world somewhere of me juggling brains in front of an APS booth. the weird talents that people have that show up in odd ways is a good time.
There are enough physics videos of me out there running around in blow-up cow outfits and shark outfits that we won't talk about that.
So that's the vacuum is pulling air outside into the cow instead of the cow being in the vacuum. The vacuum is in the cow.
What's one thing you wished you knew when you were in college?
I think I grew up as a perfectionist. I think I wish I had known that it was okay to not do things at 100%, mm-hmm. and that 100% is not the definition of success.
It's a hard thing to tell somebody.
It's a hard thing to tell somebody. It's a hard thing to internalize. You can hear it. You could have somebody tell it to you every day for 6 months, and you might not learn what that means still. Mm-hmm. So I alluded earlier to a relatively poor experience in graduate school. And saying no and leaving that program, even though I would have taken one more semester to get a master's degree out of that and leave with a master's instead of leave with nothing, because it was a PhD program.
Mm-hmm.
But my mental health couldn't take it.
Mm-hmm.
So saying no and leaving was the best thing I could have done for myself. And in that moment, I had to choose my well-being as a human being over any success that I might achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And there were other times in college where I made some decisions like that, where like caring about other people sometimes mattered more than making sure that I might get a good grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I wish I had learned that earlier, because the thing is, something I've realized as a part of being in physics education research is that a good grade is not the same as learning.
Mm-hmm.
In some classrooms, they coincide nicely because of the way that the grading structure is handled. But in truth, learning is not necessarily about getting a good grade. Getting a good grade feels good. You get the good dopamine. You get the feeling of success. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you learned anything, because if you leave the final exam and you go, well, I'm going to forget all that now, then what does an A in class actually mean? What did you actually learn from that course? So I wish I had learned that doing things at 100% was not necessarily the definition of success, and that learning looks different. Learning means something different than getting a good grade. And I think those two ideas go together really nicely.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And it's interesting to hear your perspective, because I think that added to something that I struggle with as a professor. So thank you.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for students who are just getting started out?
Started out in a career or in college?
Your choice.
Okay. Let me start with college first, because I think that's a little easier. And I think it really is the answer of figure out what learning looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And you can start with a couple of questions for yourself. The first thing you do is you think about a project that you did in high school, or whether it was for school or for fun, that you picked up because you wanted to do it, and you feel like you learned something. Sit down and think about, you could video blog or write down or talk to your best friend for like a page worth of time. So 20-30 minutes ish. And talk about how you know you learned something. What does it feel like in your brain?
Mm-hmm.
Did that learning process scratch an itch? Is it like, oh, your brain felt really good and you're like, kind of like you felt like you had done the lifting and you really understand it now? Do you know it? Do you know that you know something because you can recall that information when you're asked to? Do you know that information because now when you go work on a different project, you use those skills intentionally and you understand how to problem solve a little easier? Or does learning look like something different to you? And if you know what learning looks like for you, then you have a better starting point from which to understand what it is that your professors are asking of you. Because your professors are really trying to get you to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to assign you all sorts of problem sets, and they're going to assign you all sorts of assignments. And you will find yourself to be more successful if you can figure out how to understand not just what it is that your professor wants from you, but what you need from the assignment in order to learn the thing that your professor is trying to get you to learn. Usually in physics, we're assigning a bunch of problems because we want you to practice figuring out how to answer a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you might need to figure out, okay, I have a word problem in front of me. I don't know how to read a word problem. I don't know how to translate all these words into an equation that I can solve. And that might be your first step, where you need to ask for some assistance. So think about what it is that takes for you to learn.
Yeah, one of the things that I often tell students is that I don't care about your grade. I actually don't even care if you learn anything right now. What I care about is when you're 40
Right.
and you're walking down the street and I just randomly ask you a question from class, like, do you have that in there? Like, and is it helping you? And because it is really you want the learning to stick and to be part of you.
Yeah. So speaking of things sticking and being part of you, I'll talk about for those who are just starting out and who are about to graduate. And it's actually similar advice, which is to try to approach every moment as an opportunity to learn. If something feels hard and your stomach drops or your chest is getting tense and you're feeling angry and your face is flushed because you're embarrassed or something, recognize that sort of sensation in your body and go like, okay, I'm feeling a feeling. And you can think to yourself, okay, where did that come from? What's going on? How do I learn from this moment? If you're struggling, if you're finding yourself stuck, you're sort of feeling like you're beating your head against a wall, step back and go, okay, how do I learn from this? What do I need to learn in order to get past this? Who do I need to ask help from? Who do I need to ask for help? And how can I apply this learning elsewhere?
That's great.
I will say, like, and I mean it, and try to think about going across disciplines, because I came to physics through music. And I'll also say my math skills are infinitely better when I have to do music theory than they are when I'm just doing physics. There's nothing quite like having to count and add up like eighth notes in a measure to make you really good at fractions.
Right. That's yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was some really great advice. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
I think the only thing I would like to add is that it's really important that you take the time to learn who you are and think about how and who you want to be in the context of physics.
Okay.
Because who you are should not be something that is compromised just because you are within a certain discipline. You want to make sure that you are able to be your whole self as much as you can.
That's great advice.
Because we as physicists and we as the world need people who bring their everything to the table when we think about the big problems that we're trying to solve. Whether it's the Big Bang or string theory or quantum physics
or climate change,
or how do I spend this $1 million? Like, we need all of the creativity that we can get. So bring your whole self, because your whole self is very creative.
It's great. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.